Hello, welcome to your second video. We're going to have a look at the first of the index laws this lesson. I'll start with a similar question to what I had last time. So I'm going to start with a 7 to the power of 5 and I'm going to multiply it by 7 to the power of 3. Now we know from our last video that 7 to the power of 5 can be written as 7 times 7 times 7 times 7 times 7. So I have expanded this one here. Now we've been asked to multiply that. This multiplication sign. We've been asked to multiply that by this thing here, 7 to the power of 3. And we know from our last video that that's 7 times 7 times 7. Left with now got 7 times 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 7. So in fact we've got 7 to the power of 8 as our answer. You can probably already see what's happening here. Let's just try one more. What if I did this with letters? If I had y to the power of 4 times y to the power of 2. Well, that's the same as y times y times y times y. There's my y to the power of 4. And then I have to times it by y times y for my y to the power of 2. So there's my y to the power of 2 and here's my y to the power of 4. And I hope you can see the answer is just the power of 6. So you probably saw the link. This 8 is just the sum of these two things. And this 6 is just the sum of these two things. What I want you to note though, that in both of these questions, the base was the same. So in the first question, the base was 7, and in the second question, the base was y. So index law 1, which we're heading towards, only works if the base is the same. So we have to be careful of that. If I said to you now, what do you think answer to 5 to the power of 3 times by 5 to the power of 6 is? I'm hoping you'll just say, well, it's going to be 5 to the power of whatever 3 plus 6 is. And 3 plus 6 is 9. So we can just add those together. If I'd asked you what m to the power of 4 times by m to the power of 7 was, I'm hoping you would just say it's m to the power of 11. Okay, the bases were the same, so we could just add the index numbers. If I had asked you for a to the power of 6 times by a to the power of 4, that would be a to the power of 10. And here's just a tiny tricky one, a to the power of 3 times by a. Let's go back to what we learnt last lesson. Remember that a is the same as a to the power of 1. So 3 plus 1 is 4, and this would be a to the power of 4. From this, we get a really nice rule. We say that a to the power of something, if we times it by a to the power of something else, then the answer is just the sum of these powers, n plus n. And this is index law number 1. That if you have something to the power of something and that same base to the power of something else, you can just add those together. And this is index law 1. And here's some really good examples of index law 1. We're going to have a look at a few other examples, including some trickier ones. Let's do a few together and then I'll give you some to try on your own. So let's have a look at this. Can I just say that this should be written into your books and with the examples that we're just about to do. So example number 1. I asked you for x to the power of 3 times by x to the power of 4. Hopefully you'll just add those indices and say it's x to the power of 7. I asked you for a to the power of 5 times by a to the power of 3 times by a, what would you put? I'm hoping you've got a to the power of 9. Remembering that the a is like having a to the power of 1. And 5 plus 3 plus 1 is 9. What about this one? What if we had x to the power of 6 times by y to the power of 2 times by x to the power of 3 times by y to the power of 4. Now this is where this idea of the same base comes in handy. These two terms here both have x as a base. So when I look at those two, I'm going to get x to the power of 9. Whereas these two terms have y as their base. So I can add their powers. I will get y to the power of 6. For question 4, I'm going to put some numbers in now. So I'm going to put in 2x to the power of 4 times by 5x to the power of 2. Now what we have to be careful of here is that this number 2 and this number 5, they're just normal numbers. And 2 times 5 is just 10. Okay, so these numbers did not have an index, and we don't have to write them with an index. 2 times 5 is just 10. Now we're left with some x terms. We've got a base of x here, we've got a base of x here. So when we multiply those together, we get x to the power of 6. And my final question has some negative numbers in them, because I know you love those. What if we had minus 2x to the power of 7 times by minus 6x to the power of 4? Well, again, we've got some numbers here. Just got minus 2 times minus 6. And using either your head or your calculator, you will remember that that's equal to 12. And then with our x terms, we've got 7 plus 4, which is 11. So our answer is 12x to the power of 11. Let me give you 3 more questions to try on your own. So question 6 is x to the power of 5 times x to the power of 7. Question 7 is b squared times b to the power of 5. Final one, question 8, 4x to the power of 4y times 3x to the power of 3y times by x. Please pause the video, write those questions down and your answer, and then come back to look at the solution. So pause the video, do those questions, and come back. Did you get x to the power of 12, b to the power of 8, remembering this was a 1 in here, and finally did you get 12 x to the power of 8, remembering that this is a power of 1 in here, and y to the power of 2, again remembering this is a y to the power of 1 and this is a y to the power of 1. Okay, once you've done that, you're ready for exercise 5J, questions 6 and 7. However, if you're thinking of doing the extension work, because you've done this before or this is fairly straightforward, don't do all of questions 6 and 7. If you're going to do the extension work, just do half of each of these questions. If doing extension, because you'll want to move on to the next video quicker than if you're just doing the core work. Please make sure, everybody, that you are marking your work from the back of the book. All right, I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye.